Imagine standing at the mouth of a tunnel carved into the Philippine jungle, the air thick with heat and the smell of wet earth. Somewhere in the darkness below lies one of history's greatest accumulations of plunder, gold bars stacked like firewood, jewels pried from palace walls, sacred objects ransacked from temples that had stood for 1,000 years. This is the legend of Yamashita's gold, and it has haunted the world for over 80 years. The jungle swallowed the secret whole. Only the dead knew where it lay. As Imperial Japan swept across Southeast Asia in the early 1940s, its forces stripped banks, museums, and private homes across the Philippines, Malaya, Singapore, and beyond. By 1943, the Pacific had become a graveyard for Japanese vessels. What couldn't be shipped home had to be hidden. General Tomoyuki Yamashita commanded forces who allegedly carved an elaborate network of tunnels across the Philippine archipelago, sealing laborers inside with the treasure once the work was done. Whether every detail is accurate remains debated, but that substantial looted wealth exists underground is very likely real. Yamashita's 1942 capture of Singapore, achieved with a smaller force through sheer psychological nerve, stunned the world. Churchill called it the worst disaster in British military history. By October 1944, Yamashita inherited a collapsing empire. MacArthur had returned. Manila was burning. Retreating into the mountains of northern Luzon, he carried the Pacific War's most explosive secret. He surrendered on September 2, 1945, the same day Japan signed its formal defeat, and was hanged for war crimes in February 1946, taking everything he knew to his grave. Treasure hunters arrived within years of the war's end, armed with hand-drawn maps and deathbed confessions. The mountains of Luzon became a stage for some of history's most dangerous searches. Tunnels dug, booby traps triggered, men swallowed by collapses. The most extraordinary chapter belongs to Rogelio Roxas, a Filipino locksmith who claimed in the 1970s to have unearthed a golden Buddha and gold bars in Baguio City, only to have Ferdinand Marcos's regime seize everything and beat him into silence. Roxas pursued his case until his death, and his estate continued after. In 1996, a Hawaiian jury awarded $22 billion in damages against the Marcos estate, the largest civil judgment in American history at that time. The factual finding that treasure had been found and stolen was upheld on appeal. It remains one of the most extraordinary legal outcomes in the treasure's long history. The Philippine gold is not alone. In Russia's Catherine Palace, Nazi soldiers spent 36 hours dismantling the amber room. 6 tons of carved amber panels, gold leaf, and mirrors that visitors described as standing inside a living flame. Shipped to Königsberg Castle in 1941, it vanished in the chaos of 1945. Russia reconstructed it in 2003, but the original, irreplaceable and saturated with 3 centuries of history, has never surfaced. In the Owl Mountains of Poland, legend tells of an armored train loaded with gold and gemstones that disappeared into Nazi tunnels near Walbrzych in the war's final weeks. A 2015 legal claim reignited global headlines, and Polish authorities conducted formal surveys, finding no conclusive evidence, but never officially closing the case. And in Japan, the Honjo Masamune, the supreme sword of the Tokugawa shogunate, forged in the 13th century, was surrendered to a U.S. Army sergeant in December 1945 and simply ceased to exist in any record thereafter. Japan has never stopped searching, Every map leads to another map. Every tunnel leads to another legend. The gold, if it is there, has learned to breathe like the jungle itself. These stories are not simply tales of wealth. They are the archaeology of catastrophe, moments when the systems meant to protect and preserve what civilizations value were overwhelmed by war. Chains of custody were severed. The people who knew the truth were killed or silenced. What the imperial government thought it was protecting, it lost. What the Nazis thought they were building became rubble. But the amber craftsmen and the swordsmiths left behind things so extraordinary that even their absence is a wound still felt today. The greatest survival skill is knowing what is worth preserving and why. The past does not disappear. It only goes underground. Somewhere in the mountains of Luzon, gold bars may still rest in sealed chambers. Somewhere in Eastern Europe, amber panels may still glow in the dark. Somewhere in an American attic, a legendary sword may sit in a box, its history entirely unknown to whoever holds it. History never fully surrenders its secrets. And sometimes, if you know how to read the land, how to listen to the oldest stories, and how to move through terrain with patience and attention, it reveals itself. If this episode stirred something in you, that instinct for history, self-reliance, and the truth behind the world's great mysteries, then Fieldcraft Chronicles was built for you. Subscribe today so you never miss an episode, and share this video with every historian, bushcrafter, and survivalist in your life. Leave a comment telling us which lost treasure haunts you most. We read every one. The field is waiting. See you out there.